Uh-oh, we got a point here.
Double point, they're in there.
This week on Kentucky Afield, we've got the dogs on point and we're busting quail.
There they go!
Hunting some prime habitat down in Logan County.
About that,
Now that's what we're talking about right there, Mike.
Then we sit down with a fishing legend
I put him in the cooler. He was too big for the cooler.
and hear the story of the world record smallmouth bass straight from the mouth of the man who caught
Shook
it.
his head, he threw that out and loosened the battering up.
It's all next on Kentucky Afield.
Such a pretty fish.
Beautiful.
This pond is plumb loaded with frogs.
They're everywhere in here. Yeah, this is a good fish right here. Really good fish.
Come here, girl.
Yeah, boy. That's a big rabbit.
Nice job.
Yes!
Yes! My first muskie.
Mercy Leo!
Yeah, look at it. It's a keeper.
Here it goes. Boom.
Wow, that happened fast.
Hello, and welcome to Kentucky Afield. I'm your host, Chad Miles. Join us as we journey the Commonwealth in search of outdoor adventure. Do you want more wildlife and maybe even quail on your property? Let's go hunting with small game biologists and find out exactly how you can make that happen. So we're in Logan County here today doing a little small game hunting, and I'm with the right crew for that, right?
I hope so. That's what we're here for sure.
Small game program coordinator here. And John, everybody's farm looks just like this, doesn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah,
Everybody
when you drive
keeps their
across the
farm.
state, they look just like this, don't they?
That's right. No, really, this is perfect for a small game, is it not?
Absolutely. This is a primo farm, and we've been working with Mike for a couple of years, and it's very rare that a landowner actually listens to some of the things we mentioned, and you're going to see a lot of great habitat today thanks to the work of Mike and his family and friends that come out here and work with him to make it look like this.
So Mike, tell me a little bit about your piece of property you got here. Obviously it looks like it was built for small game, but you told me you're mainly a deer and turkey guy.
I am. I do enjoy seeing the quail, seeing the small game, but when we started out with it, it was mostly deer and turkeys, but found out that what you do bleeds over into the small game too. Hopefully it seems to be working. We'll see.
We also have Zach Danks, and Zach, you're the turkey program coordinator as well as grouse. When you put out plots like this and you let the CRP grow up for small game, what's your turkey population going to be like as well?
You'd be doing the best you could do to help that local population, and anything you can do. Quail management is turkey brood management, and if you want more turkeys, you got to have more baby turkeys, and this cover for nesting and brood rearing is vital.
Let's go meet the dogs and load up. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's do it.
Let's go. Are you running beepers on these dogs if they go on point?
Not beepers, so I've got a GPS unit. It tells me when they stop, when they go on point. So there'll be times when they stop that I can't tell if they're stopped to use a bathroom or if they're actually pointing.
I got you.
But I'll have to be watching it and tell you.
It's so thick, I was wanting to see how you knew when one was on point.
Yep.
I didn't realize you had GPS on them.
I run bells usually, but I've only got one bell now, so between the bells and the GPS. The beeper is handy. I have one on her, so we can use it if we need to.
Okay.
Oh, look at this nice ragweed strip. This is your food source, mixed in with the cover. Hey, John, look for May up there, 52 yards from me. It's just saying she stopped, right to your left.
What you got, man? What you got, girl? What you got?
Raina, too. One of them, May broke, it looks like. 33 to blue. He broke.
This is wild bird hunting here. They'll run on the ground and take off on you some. This is really, really, really thick, but you can see that there is an area in the bottom where you can tell that the very bottom undergrowth is kind of missing, and this is perfect habitat for quail. They can get in here, areas to feed, but yet there's a cover, a canopy that keeps aerial predators from coming down and picking them all off. Everything wants to eat a quail.
There's a birdie right here. Looks like it.
At 41 yards, right up in the sumac.
Oh, she's on dead point.
Over there, Mike. You break?
She broke.
Man, this is pretty prime right through here.
Yeah, it looks perfect. Got a point?
Yep.
Where they at?
They're in here.
Nothing?
You think these birds flew? Maybe we didn't see them or hear them, but
Might have been where they were, who knows? So far, we're 0 for 3 on covey encounters. The law of averages would you eventually get one to fly.
well, you would think.
Habitat's ever changing. A lot of people just don't recognize how nature's constantly evolving and changing, and we're constantly trying to maintain cover.
So tell me a little bit about what you need for good quail habitat.
When we talk about bobwhite, we always talk about the bees. Bunch grasses. We got a bunch of bunch grasses behind us, those native warm season grasses. Bare ground. That's what Mike's making when he's burning. And part of what that burning does is diversify the plant community in different stages of plants. So he's resetting the plant community when he burns a patch, and that creates that opportunity to get that bug community in place. So if you get all those bees right, we'll have birds, and that's what we hope we find today.
Oh, this looks good.
Well, they're in here.
Zach and I will go on the upper side. You guys stay down over here. Let's make a miracle happen. There we go.
How about that,
Now
guys?
that's what we're talking about right there, Mike.
Hey, mate.
This bird is a juvenile. See those white tipped feathers here? These are the secondary coverts. And when they're white tipped, that's a juvenile. When they're fuller and completely gray when it's an adult. So it means it was hatched this summer.
We had 2 or 3 times when we thought we had birds. That last one held really tight. It was right in the corner. So as we make our way down here to this corner or that corner, I feel very comfortable that we're going to flush another covey of quail here. Dogs are working good. Oop, deer, look at all of them. Tails going everywhere.
That's the thing about this cover is the deer are secure here 365. You know, I mean, they just come out to eat a little bit, come back, bed in this, go in the woods.
Dog still on point?
Yep, she's 49 yards up ahead there.
Oh, did you get one down?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
A little late getting up here on that. We had all 3 dogs on point, and as we come over the ridge here, the covey flushed. I think we got one down. Let's go see.
Dead. Got it? Good girl.
Well, that is a beautiful bird. I tell you what, you never get sick of seeing those dogs on point walk over and hear that flush.
Yeah, it's a special moment in the hunting world.
It really, really, truly is. Turkeys, turkeys, turkeys.
Oh, if it was fall turkey season, Mike, we might have switched gears.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we got a point here.
Double point, they're in there.
There they go.
I will never do that again.
Mike, I couldn't even pick my bird. Everyone I picked was going
I
down.
killed 3.
You got 3?
I did. I knocked down 3 birds. I'll never do it in my life again.
Mike,
All right, Rana, right here, Rana.
there's one.
There you go,
Dead
right there.
bird,
She's
dead
got
birds.
one right here.
Yeah, that one got hit really hard.
Dead, blue, dead.
Here's one right here.
Man,
That
way
was
to go,
awesome.
dude.
Holy cow.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that was a pretty good day. It's been a long time since I flushed coveys of quail. And your all's dogs did great. Mike, it's obvious that all your habitat work is paying off.
Well, I hope so. It makes me feel pretty good to have a day like this.
I'm here again with our conservation officer, Lieutenant McQuarrie. How you doing?
Great, good to see you again, Chad.
Hey, summer's almost here, and finally it's time to get those boats out. But there's a couple of things that boaters need to remember prior to putting that boat on the water.
You're exactly right. You need to make sure that you have your current registration year decal applied to your boat. What we see a lot of times is people have actually purchased their current registration, but they forget to put it on. And also do that pre-season boat inspection check to make sure you have all your required safety equipment.
And a couple of things that you might really want to look is, maybe someone's taken one of those life jackets out and used it at a pool or done whatever. Make sure that they get back in the boat. And what's the other thing?
Make sure you check the fire extinguisher. They can literally go bad from day to day, especially if they've been sitting in a barn or in a garage all winter long. So make sure you check to see that it's serviceable.
And then as far as life jacket restrictions,
You're required to have a life jacket on your boat for every person you have aboard. And also make sure all children under the age of 12 are wearing a life jacket when the boat is underway.
And then if you have it inflatable, it only counts if you're wearing it, right?
You must have it on for it to count.
Well, thanks again for coming in and seeing us today. Let's hope everyone has a safe summer on the water.
Thank you.
It's been over 63 years since David Hayes caught the world record smallmouth bass at Dale Hollow Lake, a record that some say will never be broken.
Hello, I'm Leonard Melton from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'd like you to meet Mr. D.L. Hayes, who has just caught the world's record smallmouth, 11 pounds, 15 ounces. Mr. Hayes, how did you catch this fish?
Caught him trolling from outboard cruiser.
Today I'm here with an old friend, D.L. Hayes. How are you doing today?
Okay.
So, you caught the world record smallmouth bass, and most people who fish, they think, man, if I could ever catch a world record, then that would be the epitome of your fishing career. But for you, it's been an interesting journey, hasn't it?
Yes.
You caught hundreds and hundreds of fish on Dale Hollow, obviously. You fished it for years and years, and you used some very unique techniques. You know, Dale Hollow, if you've ever fished Dale Hollow Lake, Dale Hollow's got grass mats, and then it's got edges where it just falls off into real deep water. And you would locate those areas that you wanted to fish right on those edges. And how'd you do that?
Well, we had a early depth finder. It was a pretty good one. One of the interesting stories about the day I caught the record, it was a cove we had to swing in to get the plug where we wanted it on the shale bank. And Mr. Willis and I went down there looking to catch this big fish. We nicknamed him Old Joe.
Okay.
And every time we went, the year I caught it, there was this couple was sitting on the bank in chairs, and they took their bait out in the middle of the cove and left it and went back and sat in the chairs, and we couldn't troll where we wanted to.
Okay.
And they'd been there every weekend for 3 or 4 weeks. So I decided I'm going down there on Monday. And my son and wife, I told them, get ready, we're gonna leave early and drive down to Dale Hollow. So my boat was already down Cedar Hill. And they were with me when I caught the fish.
Oh, wow.
They were asleep in the boat. I had a Lone Star 21-foot aluminum, had a place to sleep, and I had to have somebody to help me land that fish. And I kicked the door, woke her up. She came out about half asleep, and I told her what she had to do. The fish, I knew he was going to be wore out trolling, and he'd be floating on top of the water, and I dare not touch him. So I figured a plan before I got him to the boat, and turned the wheel real quick and let him float behind the boat, and an outrigger where the motor was sitting on, and I wet my net, put 1 foot out on that outrigger, and put the net down deep in the water so he'd float over top of it when the boat was turning, and I scooped him up. The wife said, I thought he was dead that's floating. I said, you found out it was smallmouth possum on you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But when I set that net down on the floor of the boat, he came alive, and he flopped all over the floor. I put him in the cooler, and he was too big for the cooler. When I got to the dock with him, he had the bends.
Oh, yeah. So you talk about getting to the dock. So you were trolling a bomber-style crankbait. Actually, we've got that exact same bait right here. You were trolling this exact bomber bait.
That's the bait.
Interesting is when I look at it, you know, normally these have treble hooks here and treble hooks
When
here.
he came up, shook his head, he threw that out and loosened the bat going up.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit loose right there. And you told me this bait was fairly new when you started fishing, you know, that weekend, and it's all scratched up.
That was the first fish I caught on that plug.
Wow. Interestingly enough, you caught this fish trolling, and back then you used to troll with a metal style rod and these old pin reels. And what pound test line were you throwing?
At 20 pound.
20 pound, and you would troll this lure, this plug, how far behind the boat?
Oh, anywhere from 250, 300 feet.
Okay, so it was back there a long way. So you're talking about wearing the fish out. It wasn't like you hooked it and immediately netted it. It had all kinds of time to play itself out.
Yeah.
To get it to the boat.
He came up one time, and then he went down deep, and he didn't come back on top of the water till he got tired.
Oh, yeah.
When he got tired, he floated around on top of the water.
So you had the fish weighed, and you knew it was 11 pounds, 15 ounces, but the scales weren't certified. So then you took the fish back down to Cedar Hill, which is a pretty long way, isn't it?
17 miles.
17 miles. So you and your wife drove down there. Now you knew if the number on the certified scale held up, did you know then it was going to be a world record?
No.
You still didn't know?
No.
No. So you just knew it was a really, really big fish, and you'd been chasing that fish.
I just knew it was a big fish.
Yeah. So once you got down to Cedar Hill, they then weigh the fish again, and it comes up that it weighed the same as you'd already had it weighed.
I was straightening the boat up and one thing and another, putting the curtains on it, and the guy worked the dock said, "You catch any fish?" I said, "Yeah, I got one." So I opened the cooler up. He said, "My God, let me have that fish." He took off, took it inside. When I came in, Mr. Roberts said, "You know you got a world record fish?" I said, "Oh, quit pulling my leg."
Yeah.
I said, "I know it's a big fish."
You weren't out there targeting world records. You were just out looking for fish, and you knew there was a big fish there because you and your fishing partner, you think, had hooked the fish. So I'm guessing every fishing trip after you'd hooked a really big fish there, you'd always, at some point in the day, troll through that spot, right? Yeah.
We knew where he lived.
Yeah.
We had him on 3 times. The 3rd time I caught him.
Yeah. Once you took it back down there and you handed them the fish and they went in and they came out and said, it's a world record. I'm guessing at that point in time, it was a certified scale and they probably called the Fish and Wildlife Agency at that point in time?
Yeah.
So the fish is sent off and it goes up and it gets mounted up near Chicago, and then you get the fish back. It goes on your shelf. You have a record saying, "Congratulations, you got the world record." And then lo and behold, 40 years later, you get a phone call saying, it's no longer the world record. And you got to be thinking, what is going on?
Well, Phil and Stream called me on the telephone. They wanted to write a story about the fish. And he asked me a lot of questions. So they printed a story because they didn't do that to start with when they were keeping the record. They put it in the magazine, but they didn't put any story with it. So it came out in the magazine. After they found out that they took the record off, he called me. He said, "We just published the story not too long ago, and we're embarrassed." I said, "You're embarrassed? How do you think I feel?"
Yeah.
I said, "This is all sudden to me." And that's all he said much. He didn't discuss it. That was the end of it.
And this whole embarrassing episode of this all started from an individual who had written an affidavit saying that he had handled the fish. Not you, that he had handled the fish.
I don't know what brought it all on.
Yeah.
Actually. There's a lot of stories told. Some of them probably true, some of them wasn't. I'm glad it's all over.
Yeah.
Still the record.
Still the record, rightfully so the record, because you had all the dimensions of the fish and the weight of the fish in two different areas, and the dimensions of the fish, and every time anyone has ever tried to do any modeling of all the dimensions that we have of the fish, it comes up that the fish should probably weigh more than 11 pounds, 15 ounces, not less. The fish was you caught it in July, so if you take all the dimensions of the fish, and let's say that it's not super, super big and fat, it still should have weighed close to 12 pounds, and that's what the numbers show. So a lot of time goes by, and obviously you'd been through this heartache with this, with people trying to tell you they had manipulated your fish, and finally it all gets put to bed, and the IGFA reissues your world record. People would think, wow, I bet you got tons of money for that, and I bet you got really wealthy off catching the world record. That's not the case, is it?
No.
Tell me.
All I got out of it was trouble.
What did you actually get for catching that world record fish?
Got a few bombers. Somebody sent me a cooler. I think I got some fishing line, monofilament.
In about 2010 is when you and I met. And I wanted to do something to commemorate your catch. And we had a painting made that has all the dimensions of the fish by artist Rick Hill. Rick did a great job on that painting, didn't he? And
He did a wonderful job.
you actually have one hanging right back here behind me. Yeah. So we did that, and actually it turned into a whole lot of stuff, because we made this painting. One, I wanted a way to commemorate this in a positive way for you, and we also ended up selling a bunch of these prints of this fish and generating some money for youth conservation camps, and you agreed to do that with us, and we sold them really fast. But then after that, we ended up taking that exact same painting and making a license plate, which you have some of those as well. And we also ended up taking the painting in the exact dimension and dedicating a boat ramp in your honor.
Yeah.
And that boat ramp, I still use it all the time when I go down there. Mr. Hayes, you were obviously way ahead of your time, the way you were going down there and targeting these fish.
I always say that fishing is 90% luck and 10% know-how.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I'd like to know how many times your story has been told between two fishermen down there on the boat, sitting there trying to catch a big fish. I would say some of your stories that people didn't get firsthand, they may have gotten it through reading. People have fished a million spots down there saying, I'm fishing the spot where the world record was caught, or we're going to do the same thing that Mr. Hayes did to catch the fish. But like you said, a lot of it just turns out to be luck. But I think your record, I do think it's pretty safe, and I can't think of a better person to hold the world record, and I hope you keep it forever. I just hope I catch one close, but not as big. Well, Mr. Hayes, thank you so much for your story today, and it's been a pleasure.
Glad you stopped by.
I enjoy talking to you every time. You were revolutionary when it comes to catching fish, and you got a world record to show for it. Now let's check in and see who else has been out having fun in this week's Ones That Didn't Get Away. Here we have Gavin Holder holding a nice largemouth bass he caught while using a shallow water crankbait. This fish was caught in his Papaw's Pond in Henderson County. Here's a really nice largemouth bass caught by 6-year-old Logan Sandifer. This fish was caught in a private farm pond in McLean County. Here we have another nice largemouth bass caught by Sawyer. He caught this fish in McLean County while fishing in his granddad's lake. Nice job. Luke Parker must have a honey hole. Check out this nice largemouth bass he caught in Russell County. Zoe Mae Tomei caught this nice crappie in Bullitt County. This was a black crappie caught in a private farm pond. Congratulations. Check out this nice doe that was harvested by Richard Sandlin. He took this doe with a bow and arrow from Laurel County, Kentucky. Hunting and fishing on private property is a privilege. Always ask permission and thank the landowner. Until next week, I'm your host, Chad Miles, and I hope to see you in the woods or on the water.
Looking for something fun for your child to do this summer? The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife has 3 camps across the state where kids learn outdoor skills, make friends, and have fun.
Look, I caught a fish. Oh!
But we only have a few spots left, so you'd better hurry. Kentucky Conservation Camps, a week that lasts a lifetime. For more information, visit fw.ky.gov and click on Register for Summer Camps.